Hey guys, I'm Tiffany, and you found me on the Wise Skies channel. Wise Skies Collective is a metaphysical counseling company. So we offer one-on-one services, but we also offer an awesome membership that I invite you to check out. I'm recording this in February, so our February focus is on ancestral tarot, ancestral healing and relationships. And our March focus is on Celtic lore and the equinox and doing some rune readings. So that's what's going on. I know that you came here for the astrology forecast for March of 2022. So let's kind of sink into that and get it started. Honestly, there's data overload for March. So if you've been following the astrology, it's really hard to just pinpoint a few things to pivot around because there's so much information going on. So I've tried to really dissect it, and the way I look at astrology is much like the weather forecast. So you can take the information and do with it what you want. Sometimes cloudy days are great for coming inside and writing. It's not like it's all bad information or good information. It just is. It's just information about where the planets are and how they might be influencing us. So in March, like I said, there's a lot to it. So some of the themes are let's go, or is it let it go, right? So there's this zhuzh of energy coming that dissipates quickly. I feel like it's not row your boat, but it's more like a fast moving stream where there's lots of opportunities to pivot and make new decisions. In the numerology, it's a 9-month and a 6-year. And so the nines are really about a sense of completion. And December is a 9-month too. So both March and December will be nines. And 9 is the last of the numerology views cycle, right? So the sense of completion, the sense of regeneration, the sense of synthesizing information rapidly, things start to make sense, right? And that can feel really good. But it can also feel a little bit hectic. So it can feel a little bit like that 8 of Cups where you're walking away and not looking back, but you're also on a magical new path ahead. And so what is it that you want to take with you on your journey? Who is it that you want to see on your journey? There's a real pivot going on with this equinox, this spring equinox energy. And before we get too far into March, I do want to note that the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction is coming in April, early April, April 12th. So I feel like you're going to be sensing it all March long, maybe even now as early as mid-February while I'm recording this. But Jupiter conjunct Neptune happens every 12 years. It's a normal astrological cycle. This one's unique because it's happening in Pisces, which governs both of those planets. And so there's some special magic to it. There's a special vibe to it. It makes me feel like Jimi Hendrix in Excuse Me While I Kiss the Sky. It feels very magic carpet ridey. It also is that moment when cultural shifts happen, so when the 70s music became the 80s, or the 80s music became the 90s music, that type of a thing is how I'm seeing it. So we'll see. So if you're an artist, this is a good time to be in your creative zone. Now, the curious thing about this conjunction is that it's happening directly on one of the fixed stars that is challenging to say the least. So I feel like it's going to be really bumpy. And I wrote a whole blog post about that. So if you're really interested in the nuances of this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, it's happening in 23 degrees of Pisces, and I will put a link so that you can access more information about that. I just want to throw that out there because I feel like it's really helpful for artists to know that this is a great time to check in with the muse. What are you writing? It can be very magnifying. It can be very expose. It can be very cultural shifting where you're tapping into something that a lot of people are tapping into, and it's a wave in the current. We start out March with a new moon in 12 degrees of Pisces. So still that very Piscean energy on the 2nd, March 2nd. And this is like, what temple do you want to meditate in? What mystery do you want access to? I was very fortunate enough to spend a new moon doing a fire puja on the Ganges River in India. And it was very illuminating, very enlightening for me. So that's a place that I like to go back to in my mind's eye when we've got the March new moon in Pisces, when we've got that access to the spiritual realms, right? That newness, that freshness. You can also think about Pisces as who has been generous with you. Where do you want to be generous with yourself and others? So wishes and intentions that are made on the new moon or 8 hours within are very are more potent, right, than if you did it before. So wait until the new moon is exact. You can do some water magic around that day too, because Pisces, of course, is a water sign. And so you could be doing your moon rituals, writing words around your glasses of water and charging them outside, or doing something fun with a bath. You know, like this idea of water magic can be very healing. On the 6th, Mars and Venus will enter Aquarius, the sign of the groups, the sign of the rebels, the sign of doing things completely different. To me, this is a lot like human design. You guys know that I started geeking out about human design last July, and I'm still on a roll with it. I still love it. In fact, we have a monthly human design support call every Thursday at noon. If you're interested for our membership's $22 a month, and that call alone is so worth it. This month, we're talking about what it's like to be in 2 or more auras, 2 or more, the mechanics of 2 or more people and their auras. So Mars, and what does that have to do with Mars and Venus entering Aquarius? You might find yourself interested in hanging out with different auras or new groups. Maybe you find a new meeting to go to. Maybe you find, you know, like some interesting new club to hang out in. You guys that know me know that I love doing beekeeping. So learning from the different beekeeping clubs, we have several with the different counties, and so it's like, could you bop around and, you know, learn something from some of their speakers? So it's about getting outside of the box. It's about getting out of your comfort zone, and it's really about connecting. March 10th, Mercury will enter Pisces. And this to me is about visionary concepts. It's about accessing the muse and having things out of your head and onto paper. It's very alchemical, like Pisces. And then Mercury is very detail oriented, writing, bullet pointing things. And so where could you dream awake? Where could you be? Do you want to experiment with lucid dreaming? Do you want to experiment with the way that you understand dream interpretation? Do you want to experiment with writing out your dream plans and goals, with being more involved with like journaling how you see the perfect day going and experiencing that feeling from the inside out? That's a great time to pivot and do that. It's a great time for artists too, of all kinds, or trying to just tap into that artistic side of yourself. Because right after that, on the 13th, let's see, the sun will conjunct Neptune. That's a very spiritual vibe too. It's like making a little bit more room in your heart. It's like, where can we see that we're all just trying to do our best, and maybe we're going to fall short, but can you make a little bit more room in your heart for somebody that might be falling short of what you needed? Can you fall back in love with yourself? Can you readjust your own spiritual fitness? Can you have fun with it? Can you see the silvery gold threads, or are you going dark? You know, noticing, are you going dark on something, and using that as information? And where are you going light? What lights you up? What infuses your system, right? What you know, the word inspiration, what inspires you in spirit, what infuses you with that spiritual momentum? It's around the 13th. On the 17th, Mercury is going to sextile Uranus. And to me, that speaks of that Mars and Venus in Aquarius. We've got Mercury sextiling Uranus. This is the road less traveled. And this is a decision to take. You don't have to. You don't have to take it. You can keep doing the same thing. And maybe what you're doing right now is perfect. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm not like being condescending about it. I'm not suggesting we all should be changing things up at all. But I will say that energy is very like shock and awe and change it up, and road less travel, and a case of the screw-its, and I'm ready to do something else, change it up. There's nothing about that transit that's like, just be still and steady and conservative. It's like, let's get a new thought. Let's get a new idea. Let's go on a road trip. You know what I mean? Let's zhuzh the energy up a little bit, so it doesn't zhuzh us. On the 18th, now lots of things going on the 18th. We've got the Venus is sextiling Chiron, the sun will sextile Pluto, and we've got a full moon in Virgo, right? So celebrating how far you've come, really just trying to keep your heart open to love, trying to do what's most loving for you. I am very guilty of trying to help and fix other people when I haven't been asked. And so let me just throw that out there, that's part of my journey, that I have to realize when I'm invited to help or not help, right? And so this whole transit right there is like, okay, what can you sit back and just be compassionate towards? You know, sometimes I do get asked to help advise, and then it's appropriate, it's mechanically correct for me to offer some ideas that I see. But here, under this full moon where there's so much healing, Venus, Chiron, Sun, Pluto, it's like, how can you notice some things like that about yourself and just offer yourself to service instead of offering yourself to try to fix and control things so that you have a sense of security and stability, right? There's this openness, there's this like live and let live feeling, and then this celebration of how far you've come with your health, with your routines, with the effort that you've put forth, right, Virgo, full moon in Virgo. This is the housekeeping of the heart. This is the house cleaning of the heart. And then on the 19th, we've got Venus squaring Uranus. And so this is where we've really got to remain flexible, that things probably aren't going to go exactly the way that we put up in our spiritual vision board at the first of the month. So that's why it's really critical, if you're going to be working with that new moon in Pisces, to feel into the feeling that you want to feel and be open to how it looks. It might not look exactly as you want it to, right? So there we've got Venus squaring Uranus on around the 19th. It's going to show up for you. The spirit TV or the physical world or the reality that you're living in is going to show you exactly what you wished for. So being really aware of what you're conjuring with your feelings and your thoughts. And if it's negative, how quickly can you make the black go silver, and try to notice what made it go black and then abandon it, not for the sake of escaping all of your feelings, but for the sake of just your own awareness experiment, you know. So I feel like I kind of went in a circle there. Like I said, it's like an information bomb. So I hope you're hanging in there and keeping up with me. We're more than midway through the month at this point. On the 20th, the sun is going to enter Aries. That fiery energy is where we can step up, where we can show up, where we can be a little bit more headstrong, where we can be clear. And that's a confusing part of the month, because the numerology of the 9, we just finished the full moon. Things are like that ending feeling, that completion, that understanding, that synthesizing of information, that awareness that can only occur by looking back, right? That's all right there, whoosh, in the pot. And now sun in Aries, right? So now solstice, now equinox, now celebrations on the 20th, depending on what time zone you're in, right? Happy birthday to all the Aries. We would love to do birthday readings for you. So if you want to get a gift certificate for your Aries friend, please come over to wiseskiescollective.com and get them a gift certificate. We'd love to do that for you. You can find them on the Book With Us page. And when you click to schedule, you'll be able to buy a gift certificate with any of our intuitives. Right after that solstice mark on the 21st, Mercury is going to conjunct Jupiter. On the same time, Mars is going to sextile Chiron. This is about overcoming odds. This is about your big win. This is about spreading the word. This is good news. This feels like overcoming a challenge. This feels like good energy that's very sensual and positive and uplifting, right? It feels clean and clear, and things are moving forward. The plants are growing, right? The weather feels different. And so just looking forward to that part of the month. On the 22nd, Mars is going to square Uranus. So even though there's so many good things going on, Mars squaring Uranus is not one of those good things. That's very volatile. So there's very mixed vibes around the equinox. And that's why I'm like, what bullet point do I tell these guys this month, right? The Mars squaring Uranus is electrical problems. It's fires. It's things that are erupting. It's sudden change. And sudden change doesn't have to be bad. But because some of you guys have given me the feedback that I'm overly optimistic, that I should be warning of the dangers, this is one of those times when if you were looking for trouble, you'd probably find it, right? So Mars squaring Uranus, this is fights out of nowhere. This is outbursts. This is accidents. So if you're accident prone, if you have a third line in your human design profile, being extra cautious and careful around the 20th to 22nd, give or take. On the 23rd, Mercury is going to conjunct Neptune. That could be very positive, but it could also be where we are delusional, where we're hiding something from ourselves, where things kind of feel like in the mystic, it's not the right time for a full-on knowing. The lines are blurry. And again, a great time for artists where you can tune out, write a song, write a book, do some doodles that turn into your next masterpiece, cook something creative, garden in a different way, just kind of being in touch with that natural rhythm that's deep inside. That is in itself a checkout, and it can be done in healthy ways. But because Mars is square Uranus right there, it can also be done in unhealthy ways. So those two things together around the 23rd, 22nd, 23rd, that can look like a relapse. That can look like a freak accident. That can look like, now I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm just saying that for you to be aware of. And how do you want to spend that day? You want to spend it aware, right? All right. Behind that, the rest of the month, there's 3 other things to talk about. Mercury is going to sextile Pluto on the 22nd. And to me, that is really where the truth comes out. So if you were feeling unsure, so we went through this like completion cycle, synergizing of energy, things feeling like, okay, I might not be comfortable, but I'm accepting it as complete. I'm accepting it as the world card. I'm accepting it as the full moon, as is life on life's terms. And then whoof, the spring equinox, that zhuzh of energy. And then whoof, things feeling kind of accident prone and curious about what's happening here. By about the 26th, it's going to be clear. It's going to be more and more clear to you. The 27th, Mercury is going to enter Aries. So joining that firecracker energy, that Ace of Wands energy, that ready to do something energy is Mercury, the planet that governs the way that we think, the way that we understand things, the way that we communicate, the way that we learn, our different learning styles. So what is it that you want to learn around March 27th? And what is it that you need to decide? Aries, what do you need to get out of your head, Aries? What do you need to talk through, but maybe not act on, right? So there are some considerations there for you. It's going to depend on you and your design and what you're needing to do at that particular moment. But I feel like the energy is ripe for making decisions and getting clear and understanding and moving forward. If you guys have been following me for any length of time, you know that one of my stories is about making tough decisions, and it comes from, well, a wise woman, I'll say. And she said, you know, Tiffany, you're just going to have to pray about it, make a decision, and move on. And I was just stuck in indecision for too long, right? And so that is really good advice. Pray about it, make a decision, and go forward. We've got lots of forward momentum. If you're going to be stagnant at that time, even if you're supposed to wait to respond, you can still be forward moving. You can still be aware that good things are coming to you, right? But if you stagnate on a decision, if you're not responding to something that perhaps you ought to be responding to, that can feel very frustrating at that time of the month. So making decisions quickly and smoothly according to your own decision making or a mechanic, right? That's going to be really critical for you. If you're brand new to human design, we've definitely got some great beginner articles. And it works so beautifully well with everything we're talking about with astrology. It's just another tool for looking at the mechanics of how you operate and how you make decisions. And so what an awesome gift to give yourself right then, right? On the 28th, Venus is going to conjunct Saturn. And my short note for that is Heartbreak Hotel, okay? But don't get too mad at me because it's not all about Heartbreak Hotel. It's not about breakups. Venus is that planet of love and relationships and connection and feeling emotionally fulfilled and secure, whereas Saturn brings out some of our fears and some of our limitations, and it also brings out our commitments. So where are you feeling rejective or rejected, or are you rejecting love? Are you afraid of love? Are you limiting yourself in love? Are you committed to loving in a new way? Are you making a commitment to your own heart or to the service of another? These are for consideration at the end of the month. Just wanted to drop one note of housekeeping again for the membership. I hope that you guys would all come along and join us for $22. We're doing Astro Tarot, so you'll get 3 decks for your sign, and you'll get to a full understanding of what your sign can expect from the tarot in the month of March. You'll also get an Akashic record reading, which is a focus on the equinox. Our HD support call is the first Thursday at noon, and we're talking about more than 2 auras. And we're also doing this Celtic rune reading with a guest teacher that we've had on before. So you'll get a special rune reading, and she's also toying with the idea of doing a mushroom meditation that doesn't require you take any psychedelics or anything like that. It's really about like, have you ever done a plant meditation where you've worked with plant medicine or plant energy just by meditating and thinking about it? For example, thinking about the rose and conjuring more love into your life. She's able to do that with mushrooms, and so it's going to be interesting to see where she goes with the class. But I invite you guys to come over. We've got a free version of the digital astrology calendar up on the website still. So if you're curious about more details about each of those little bullet points I went into, the digital calendar, if you click on the day, it'll give you the horoscope for the day. It's not even really the horoscope, the forecast for the day. So that can be a really good tool to use. And of course, I invite you to join us on social media and comment and let us know what you'd like to see, what content is exciting to you. So I hope that I have given you enough information about March to kind of keep you interested. This is a month where you want to stay curious, where you want to say, let's go or let it go. That can be a theme for you. And knowing that, what goes up must come down. This is a month of integration through great extremes, integration through great extremes. So if people are kind of looking out for themselves or appearing single-minded, just don't take it personally. If you are aware that you're that way, or if you're being that way, where can you pause and reflect, and where can you work with that energy, right? It's not row, row, row your boat. The river's flowing fast. So what are you seeing in the streams of your life? What's happening in Spirit TV? What do you want to pause and pivot? What do you want to understand through this like rapid integration month? March to me always feels a little bit uncomfortable. It's like January, February, March. We're not quite in that full sun nest, but it is the equinox, and there are moments to look forward to. It to me, the energy always feels a little bit like one foot on the gas and one foot on the brakes, right? It's like you're ready to go, but you're not. But you're ready to go, but you're not. And so that idea that decisions being made is almost like a flushing, a rejuvenation towards the end of the month. That is, I guess, gives me hope, gives me something to look forward to. And guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this little episode of what I see for March. Of course, I've probably got some blind spots and haven't hit everything, but those are the key points that I wanted to make sure that you were aware of as you start to map out your month and how you want to manage your energy and orient your time and your heart and your wisdom. So thanks so much for being here. It's an honor to reflect these ideas back to you. And you can find us at wiseskiescollective.com. Okay.